Watch out, this podcast may contain adult content. We're brought to you today by Altered Reality Entertainment, the creators of Empire State Comic-Con. Check it out at escomiccon.com. And now, on to the show. Hello and welcome to On the Case, an investigative television podcast. It's all about Game of Thrones. We're talking about all the living, breathing characters ahead of the final season. My name's Elijah. We're here with Casey. Casey, who are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about Meera Reed of House Reed.
Of House Reed.
House Reed.
The Reeds.
Yes.
Reeds are one of my favorite things just in the world.
Yeah, they're great, and near marshes, just like the reeds in this story.
You put them in your mouth when you have a saxophone, you gotta read. It's like,
oh, that kind of reed? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're good characters in Game of Thrones as well, which is
Are
what
they
our
good
podcast
characters?
is about. Yeah.
Are they good characters?
I think they're pretty good characters.
Are they?
Well, they mean a lot.
They mean... See...
They're a big chunk.
I kind of feel like they're whack, if I'm being honest.
Oh, man.
Jojen and
you're
Meera,
blindsiding me
both
right
of them.
now, and I'm just so angry.
I know.
I'm angry
I kind of feel like... But here's the thing. This is because we haven't done Bran yet, and we will. But Bran is like the worst plotline of the show, and every time he has a scene or they have a scene or anything's going on with them, I'm like, this is whack. I wish we were hanging out with someone else.
I get why some people who like maybe are less knowledgeable like you might, find Bran stories to be boring, but that's just, part of being you, I guess. And part of being me is understanding things and appreciating them for the incredible value that they have.
Quick interjection. Have you seen the show? Because his scenes are mad boring.
I have.
Remember that time they wrote him out for a whole season because he was so boring?
No, they didn't write him out for a whole season. He was training, and they didn't want to show it because it didn't.
I remember when he came back from that training, and it still seemed like he was at the beginning of his training. Do you remember that time too?
I had hoped that he would have progressed more.
Yes. Yeah. We were supposed to have our Return of the Jedi moment, and we had still, I don't know what I am. I don't know what I'm doing. Also, I'm going to get all my friends killed.
Well, to be fair, it's a lot to learn the entire history of the world and how to harness powers that only one person that we know has even done. So.
All right. Well, let's actually move on to Meera Reed.
Right. Sorry.
All right. So let's give her overview.
Yeah.
Sets out on a mission at the behest of her brother, right?
Yes, I believe it starts kind of off screen with the three-eyed raven giving visions to Jojen.
Yeah.
And then he knows he needs to go to Bran. So they do, and they find him with Osha and Hodor and Rickon on their way north after the whole siege of Winterfell and after Ramsay Bolton kind of unrooted Theon's rebellion.
I think Osha, Meera, Will They, Won't They was my favorite. Like,
what will they? Won't they kill each other?
No, fall in love.
Tried.
No,
they wanted to real bad. They had a whole fight about like how to skin a rabbit. It was weird.
Yeah, like is there any like literary comparisons we can draw to like Bran's journey? Because like, is it Odysseus who loses everyone? Because like Bran is like 10 for 10 on losing everyone on that journey.
Just about.
Yeah, either them leaving him just.
Including the three-eyed raven who wasn't even on the journey.
Yeah. Because like my thing with Meera is like, I feel so bad for her.
Me too.
Because I feel like we have seen her end, and I'm sure that we'll get into this, but like I don't think we're ever going to see her again, or she's ever going to come up or be in the show again. Just
I do.
Personally,
I do.
I just like her journey just sucked. Like she gave everything she had.
She probably would have rather died like Jojen did.
Yeah, like as a hero, like
a lot more.
Yeah, and then like having to suffer through like well, she got him back, and like of course she was needed to get him back too, but like. It's just a rough go for her. Like and there's no.
And they had to eat like sticks and like mushrooms and garbage.
Yeah,
while they were in there.
And I know everyone has had a rough go, but like she has no bright spots that I can like think of in her journey.
There has been dark spots, like darker than
darker spots. Yeah, like some of the spots got bleached a little bit, but they're still dark.
But they're still rough. Yeah, I mean like the whole Craster's Keep stuff was rough with her.
Rough.
That was probably one of the low points. And then when she thought they were about to die before Uncle Benjen / Cold Hands helps him out. Yeah.
Okay, so last scene, leaving Winterfell.
For her home. And I was like sad to see her go, but I understood. I was like, dude, she deserves to like go back and have a break, and she's gonna have to go tell her dad that like her brother's dead and all about her crazy journey. I mean, hopefully what happens is it'll be more men for the Northern Army, because the Reeds are loyal to House Stark, and they have not, to my knowledge, fought in any of the wars yet.
Yeah, no, they've been just chilling out in the crag, which is the
area near the neck is where they rule.
It's like swampy. They're riding crocodiles, right?
Well, but they call them the frogmen because they eat frogs a lot, and they fight with spears, and they're sort of like recluses. They hang out in the bogs and they take boats everywhere. and all their little castles are kind of like islands almost in
like
the swamp.
Interconnected. So like have you seen Avatar: The Last Airbender? Is this like the Swamp Benders? Is that what's going on here?
Maybe. I mean, we haven't seen it yet. That's the thing. We've only heard about it.
Yeah.
And we know that her father's a very important person, Howland Reed, because he's the only living person that was there with Ned at the Tower of Joy when he found the baby and his sister bleeding and everything. So if for some reason when Jon gets told about his lineage from Sam, who has it on paper, and Bran, who's seen it in visions, the only person who was actually there
can confirm is
Howland Reed.
See,
her father.
and I know, like, obviously in this episode, this is probably the biggest thing we're going to have to bring up. But I don't think it's going to matter for the show. I think in the books, Howland and that, like, plot point, I think that matters. But in the show, they haven't shown it. They haven't addressed it.
Yeah.
Like, and he's, like, barely in that scene. He doesn't even call him Howland. Like, like, he doesn't say his name. Like, if past Ned had, like, said his name and then, like, been like, my Reed brother, or like, he said Howland or something like that, then I would have thought that he's coming back. But because we didn't get that, I just don't see it.
Well, he was so close to finding his sister finally. I think
true,
he was just living in the moment. But yeah, I mean, George R. R. Martin said that Howland Reed will be in the story, but that's probably more for the books.
Yeah.
And I think that because there's so much other evidence for the show, we don't really need him for all intents and purposes. But if you think about it, it might not be that Jon believes, and maybe some of the North people believe, but maybe not everyone believes. And if it comes down to Jon becoming Aegon and taking his like rightful rule at the seat, you need factual,
living lord evidence.
The only person that was alive that was there.
Yeah.
Besides maybe a handmaiden or two that was helping with the
and
work.
we've also talked about this idea a lot, and we're kind of jumping around, and I'm sure we're gonna
it's
move
all
into the rest
about
of this. This is all this is
Meera
really just
and the Reeds.
a read download more than just a Meera one, because there's kind of a lot going on with them. Would you say that, because we both kind of, in the course of doing this podcast, we've both kind of said we think they're going to lose in the North, like we think Winterfell falls, right, or like that something bad happens there. Do you think that the Reeds could be the people who rescue them, like they're the army that comes up in the Knights of the Vale way, and they come up, they're like, hey, well, like, we're a fresh army, we got these knights, we're coming up, we're going to help you? Or do you think they're always going to be a part of the fighting group for Winterfell?
I'd like to see them show up before the fight at Winterfell, because the only other place they could fight, it wouldn't be like in the bogs, because there's no way to film that, and there's no way to really choreograph a fight or stage
of White Walkers walking around in the swamp, getting all like ambushed by like dudes in like bushes.
It wouldn't be smart anyway, because it wouldn't really give the living people an advantage, but the Trident might, if they could figure out a way to do that. And also because it has important historical reference with Robert's Rebellion and Rhaegar dying there. So if there's going to be a second place where they fight, it's probably going to be the Trident. But I've been kind of leaning towards that this fight with the Night King might have to end at Winterfell. And only because the historical significance of Bran the Builder, who built two things in his life that were really important, and it was the Wall and Winterfell, and that's
so
where
you think the symbolism is like
that's the last stand.
Yeah, that's you think okay.
The next line of defense.
We've both said that like the final conflict is probably with Cersei. It's a human problem, not a supernatural problem.
Yeah,
to have more stakes.
Sure.
So this just came to me while we were talking. I was like, it'd be really funny if like Cersei was like, haha, the Gold Company, yes. As they're heading back down, I'm gonna do a tricky move, and I'm gonna have the Golden Company ambush them. But they have to go through the swamps of the Reeds, and the Reeds are just like, hey, we send our regards, like we remember, and they just killed the whole Gold Company in the swamps.
Crazy. Yeah, if they like come out of like the bushes and start stabbing people, like
we're the Muddy Company now. We're covered in mud.
Well, their elephants would definitely not be having a great time with it.
Elephants in the swamp, man. I've never thought about that.
Be kind of cool, actually. I don't know, but I think the Reeds showing up will be important because they have not fought, and it could be like the Knights of the Vale, because the Knights of the Vale, like the Reeds, are the only part of the kingdom that had not fought in any of the wars yet. So they were like super fresh when they came in.
Hadn't
they just wrecked shop at Battles of Bastards. And the Reeds might not have the resources of the entire Vale, or like
but they got people like and they haven't been used in the wars.
There's guys down there. They know how to fight.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's get into Meera's top moments, worst moments.
Okay. I think some of her top moments are definitely just like in the introduction, like when she kind of
she has a great introduction.
Yeah, she gets the drop on Osha,
which people really didn't like. Of all the people you could get the drop on in the show, Osha seemed like one of the least. Like it's like Braun, you probably can't get the drop on. Osha, you probably couldn't get the drop on.
She's very squirrely.
Yeah,
in the wildlands and stuff. I don't know. I liked that she was a badass girl, and the fact that she was raised different too. Like it's kind of like Arya, but
like more accepted, like
yeah,
allowed by
she
her
didn't
father.
have to
Yeah,
choose
hide. No, she got to.
I think that's why she fits in so well, like with this whole north of the wall thing, is because she's kind of like
like a wildling. Yeah,
their culture is like that. I mean, the fact that Jojen is more like sort of the demure one, and she's like the the badass fighter. It was kind of cool, and we hadn't really seen to that point a duo like that yet.
And I don't know if this is just a case across all of the Reeds area. Like, what is it? They're in the Kragan.
Yeah, they call it the Crag.
They're near the neck. Yeah. Okay. So
yeah.
I don't know if this is a marshlands people thing just in general, and this is how Howland runs stuff. Like, hey, men and women can be equal or do whatever they want, or is it more like Meera was the older sibling, and then her younger brother was so sickly or like frail and fragile that she just naturally became this defender and this protector. Yeah. So I don't know if it's a thing of the marshlands in general or if it was just specific to their dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, there's so much of that area is like shrouded in mystery because we've never been there in the books or the show as far as I know. And they even say that like the castle itself where they live moves, that it's never in one place, that it kind of shifts around the swamp, that it's like a floating island.
That's incredible.
And that the only people that can find it are the people who were born there and raised there. So if they were trying to attack them, like they've said that's part of why the neck is so hard to, like it's hard to invade the north, because you have to go through the neck, and it's just like this place that makes people crazy if you don't know your way around. Gotcha. So it's hard to say. But I mean, with her, the best moments I think would be like
just her intro.
Well, that and saving Bran. And pulling that sled.
But did she save Bran? Like, I kind of feel like
what would have happened if because she couldn't hold the door. Hodor that was his destiny. Was to hold
you're
that
right.
door.
Okay, so you're right. So she physically carries them, but like I would say that they specifically got saved themselves by more people. So I would feel like she was like the smallest part of that saving.
It seemed like to me that she had been carrying him.
Yeah.
Like and being chased for like a day and a night.
Yeah.
Which could you imagine dragging that sled?
In
and
the
she's
cold,
not big. Like the Krennic
no.
people are small, and she's a girl too. And pulling this guy, and he's not talking. He's like still like paralyzed in his like vision because he's like did the whole Weirwood.net download, and if Benjen doesn't come, they both die.
Yeah.
But
she still did it.
She did her duty.
Because what I was going to get to is that, like, you were saying, her best moment was her introduction, because that was a great moment for her.
Sure.
And then, like, pretty much everything else is a worst moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Worst moments are easier to find with her.
Yeah, because she has so much, like, faith in, like, what her brother was setting out in her brother's mission. It's, like, almost like, because she never got to touch or see or even know any of this stuff, but she's seeing Bran's powers develop, obviously. But I think she has, of all the people in the show, like some of the strongest faith, because she just believes in her brother's mission, or that like she's like, I've come this far, I might as well just keep doing it.
I think she does have her doubts while they're in the cave, because she says like, we've been here for so long, we've done nothing but like eat acorns and like weird paste and stuff. In the books it's considered to be like blood. Basically they're feeding Bran to make his power stronger, but I mean, imagine how boring it would be. She can't even leave the cave to like go hunt or do any things that like has made her show her worth to that point in the story. And I think she also has sort of like a fondness, if not a love, for Bran and who he is, at least before he becomes a three-eyed raven and is no longer who he was.
Yeah, because I would have, like, just looking at the way television's built, I would have been like, oh, that's his romantic interest, obviously. Yeah. But then, like, it definitely doesn't go that way.
No, because his destiny's bigger than that. I think a lot of characters in this, when we think of their best, their best endings, like we talk about all the time, it's hard to put them with someone because these pieces don't fit like perfectly. Yeah. These are gray area characters, most of them. Yeah. They're not pure good, they're not pure evil, and a lot of them have a destiny that's bigger than ending up in a nice cozy shack somewhere.
Let's make babies. Yeah. This is very millennials of us. Did you know the birth rate is down because millennials aren't having babies and aren't getting married?
Yeah, I've heard that most people are buying houses for their dog instead
yes.
of kids.
Yes.
to give the dog the yard they deserve. Yeah, but it's true in the story. I mean, because also we don't know how many of these people are going to be alive, and in the meantime, their destiny might be somewhere between now and their death.
Mm-hmm. I keep thinking in my head that it's going to be like they're really going to pull they're going to pull the punches, and then just a bunch of them are going to survive, and then like
I think every episode we're going to lose someone we like. a lot.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into then Meera's happiest and sad endings.
We didn't do worst moments yet.
I think we kind of just like.
Do you want to just skip it?
No, I mean we
There's
can't.
hard to talk about.
There's a lot. I mean we kind of like brought it up earlier. Like the Craster's keep stuff is rough. Having to murder her own brother,
watching
her brother die / having to like slit his throat so he doesn't have to become a white kind of thing.
Honestly, I was gonna say I think her worst emotional moment is when she leaves Bran, because she looks at him and they have that talk, and she goes, Bran, and he's like, I'm not really anymore. I remember what it was like, but there's so much more now.
Yeah.
And like
when she's like, you died in that cave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the severance of when their romantic, like what they could be, is gone now.
Yeah, the Bran she cared about is.
And I don't think he'll use these powers, end the war, save the world, and then go back to being Bran. I think this is his destiny, and he's just going to kind of always be paralyzed in this state of being the Three-Eyed Raven.
I really need Bran to do something big for all of this to have been worth it.
Me too, because he's the chosen one, and so is Jon. And Jon's like prowess in battle is obvious, but Bran's powers really aren't yet. Like, what is he going to do that could rival the Night King's powers?
We really...
turn the tide.
Because, like, if this was all for him to just be like, oh, yeah, Jon is a Targaryen, and everyone to believe... Like, if this all was just for that...
I've always said, like, if Bran
he's got to do a mass...
and he's, like, the chosen one, and he turns out to be a glorified fucking security camera / lookout, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah.
Like, he has to have one thing, up his sleeve.
All right, so happy ending for Meera.
Happy ending for Meera, I think... would be the opposite of what I just said, where Bran gets to be Bran again.
Oh,
and they can be happy ever after.
Fall in love.
Yeah,
he does the one thing, and then he's like, "Now I'm done being a Raven." And then
I don't know. It could be cool. Like, what if, like, at the end, like she brings the Cragmen, they help fight, they defend Winterfell, and then Bran does some crazy power we don't even know he has yet, and maybe like when you see him use this power, it's like a one and done power. It ends
and maybe it burns the power within him too.
Yeah, or you could see like all the weirwood trees like melt or go up in flames or something, like all over, like some kind of crazy thing where it's literally
wakes a dragon from stone from underneath Winterfell.
Could be, or turns the evil dragon.
What if Winterfell is a transformer in the castle? Turns into a dragon.
Terrible. People did think that there's a reason there's a dragon. That there might be a dragon under there, but now that the Night King has a dragon, it doesn't seem plausible. Sense, But something like that. If he could turn back to being Bran after they saved the world together, and then
be together.
I mean, he won't be able to use his legs. That'd be a little too cookie cutter happy, like Hallmark movie.
You want to know what the real happy ending for her is?
What?
That she never gets a raven or a letter from Winterfell about any war or anything, and she just gets to just chill out in the freaking marshlands and never have to be a part of anything ever again. That's her. I think she's living her happy ending. She's like, you know what? I did my part. She'll get a letter like, oh, we beat the Night King. Like she's like, oh, like the Citadel just sent out, oh, by the way, this is what happened, and then she'll be like, cool. I did my part to save the world. And she just has some really hot husband, and she's just like in charge. Howland dies. She becomes the lady of.
Well, if we're going to go like super fairy tale for her and give her let's give her the best husband we can give her, she gets together with Podrick. Right?
Yeah.
Podrick or Gendry, or she's like
I like how
with his two sister wives
in every situation. Yeah, that's her happiest ending. She gets Gendry and Pod.
Yeah, and she's just sitting there on like this like mossy throne somewhere. Like, yeah, it's awesome living here. No one fucks with us here.
And because Gendry's in constant competition for Podrick to like keep up with him in the bedroom, he never gets chubby like Robert did, so he stays in like just chiseled form.
Yeah, he just hammers steel like 18 hours a day, and then hammers her the other 2 before he goes to bed. But yeah, let's give Meera a nice husband.
Let's talk about her sad ending now. And I think she already lived it, right?
Yeah.
Is that we're at her sad ending?
I guess her sad ending would have been if
everything that happened to her.
Benjen Cold Hands never showed up, and she carried him for like a day and a night, and then just got wrecked by.
I guess it has to do something with like Bran dying and her finding out about it.
Yeah,
and like maybe like she thought it like in a Theon way where she like thought about going to the north to help out at the Battle of Winterfell, but she's just like nah, and she just doesn't do it. Or like, she was gonna like write a letter like, hey, we're gonna bring the Kragan in, and she just doesn't do it, and then Bran dies, and she like has to live with the regret of. Yeah.
Well, if her sacrifice, Hodor, Summers, all their sacrifices, and her brother's sacrifice was to get Bran to fulfill this higher purpose, if for some reason he didn't get to, and it was kind of like, oh wow,
what
I lost
do all
everything,
that for? Yeah.
And the world's still fucked.
It's like she gets the letter from the Citadel being like, oh, they all died at Winterfell, da-da-da-da-da, and then she like looks outside the door and she's like, oh, look at all those White Walkers, and then it's just like, Cut to black.
Like her dad's reading the letter, and she goes, "Papa, what of Bran?" And then he just shakes his head like, "No." And she's like,
Bran? She goes, and she looks out the window. Just
she goes to
blue,
her
nothing
fainting
but blue
couch.
eyes. Yeah.
What character is this? We're not even talking about Meera anymore, but that'd be really funny. The whole tough thing was like a joke.
Yeah, that's like Meera from the Shrek universe.
God. Yeah, or the Disney universe.
All right. So, do you think she's gonna live or die?
I think live.
Okay.
I think like I said, we said this a lot of times, but when a character goes through that much shit, if you kill him, you're just a dick.
Yeah.
Like, and George R. R. Martin he doesn't pull punches, but he's not a dick.
Okay, so because I think the will she live or die is actually kind of not as relevant as will she be in the show again, because I don't think that they're gonna show up again, her or I don't think that that's gonna be a part of anything.
Well, Dragonglass and Valyrian Steel are going to be a big part of their defense against the Army of the Whites. Mm-hmm. There's only one character we've seen use a Dragonglass tipped arrow, who's a really good archer, take down a White Walker. Okay. Like, there's only actually 2 people we've seen take down a White Walker, or 3, I guess, because it's Sam, Jon, and Meera. Yeah. So I think the Crannogmen come back and they get Dragonglass spears, and she gets Dragonglass arrows, and she's up on the battlements like firing them off like Legolas in Helm's Deep.
You're really going fanfic on this one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, because my thing is I think she lives, but I think it's not because of a drama or a tension point. I think it's because she lives because she's just not in the show again. Like, that's my thing. I just don't think that the Reeds are involved in the end game. I don't think that they bring her back. Know. Yeah, I think that she served her purpose, and I think that they, as a writer or as like a producer of a show kind of thing, I think that you already gave her fitting end where Bran was like, yo, I'm not anymore. She's like, cool, you died under that tree. And I think that was her end of series moment.
Maybe that's her separating from Bran, but I don't think that's her separating from the entire
story. Okay.
Because there's no characters we followed for that long that have that set of skills and that sort of like family name that are that important. And then they just write them out of the show.
So then this is our next burrito bet.
Okay.
I say Meera Reed will not show up again in the show.
It's hard because I know she'll show up in the books again, and we don't even know where she is gonna end up.
Yeah.
In the books, but in the show, I think you bring her back.
You think? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
I think so.
The burrito is bet.
I think Jon is literally training girls and men and women in the North to fight. He's like, I don't want this whole men and women bullshit. Everyone fucking fights. If you can hold a spear, you fight. And I don't think he will sacrifice an entire segment of Bannermen.
I need Lyanna.
You want Lyanna Mormont?
I need her with a sword.
Just have her go like Sir Arthur Dayne with 2 swords, just slashing the shit out of everybody.
Do you think that Lyanna and Arya are going to be best friends? Because I really hope so.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I hope so. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, back to Meera. Okay, so you think she'll live. I think she's going to live as well, but for different reasons, because I don't think she'll be in the show again, and you think she will, but she'll still survive whatever happens.
Yeah. A good warrior wouldn't stay away from the biggest fight of their entire world.
Yeah. I don't think that she's Azor Ahai.
No, she's not.
You have any theories about these?
About her? I mean, I think, like I said, I think she might come back just because if her dad does show up in the story, it's for a very specific purpose. To
corroborate the story.
Who Jon is. And I think that might be the reason, like, he's not going to go to Winterfell with the Crannogmen and she's not there.
Yeah, no.
She's going to be there. Maybe Howland even, like, has other secrets, because there's, like, some hinting in the books that he, like, has gone to the Isle of Faces and met, where people think maybe some of the children of the Forest still live in the Isle of Faces, down at the God's Eye or whatever, and he's been there. And not many people have. And so I think he knows more than what we know, and I think that part of him is why Jojen had these visions.
Gotcha.
I think there's some sort of magic, because like all the people in the North, that's the only place where like these old gods have power. That's why a lot of the Stark children have the warging, and I think that's part of it.
Okay.
I think he has a role to play, and so does she.
Okay.
Burrito bet.
Yeah, burrito is bet. The bean is cast.
Guac.
Okay, so next episode we are going to talk about who?
I think next episode we are going to talk about Jorah.
Jorah of House Mormont?
Yeah.
I like that.
We'll just talking about Mormonts. Let's do some Mormonts.
Let's do some more Mormont.
I need more Mormont.
Some more Mormont.
I need more Mont.
Mormont.
All right, we beat that to death.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, good to get that out
Sir
of our
Jorah
system.
will be in the next episode.
As always, this podcast is brought to you by Altered Reality Entertainment. They have a little show called Empire State Comic-Con happening up in Albany, New York. It's not little. It's a big Comic-Con. They've got celebrities, vendors, artists. Come check it out. escomiccon.com. It's gonna be fun.
All kinds of dope stuff.
Yeah.
Don't miss it.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say bye, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Come see us on the next one.
Come see us.
Well,
Hear
listen
us?
to us.
Yeah.
Come check it out.
Let us tap dance on your eardrums next time.
Go on.
All right. Bye, guys. This is On the Case with Casey and Eli. We'll see you soon.